Hello, and welcome to the Gaming Mix podcast, your mix for all things gaming. This is the official podcast for Analog Stick Gaming, and as always, I'm Jeff Young, and my co-captain Jordan is still out delivering packages in Death Stranding 2. So today we are joined by fellow WUCHANG, Keith Mitchell of the Outerhaven. Keith, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine, folks. I can't believe that I almost missed out on such an amazing game. Wow, this game is amazing.
So today we have a special review episode for WUCHANG Fallen Feathers, which both of us have played to various degrees and have had a lot of discussions about it leading up to pretty much you guys getting your hands on it and playing it. This is the latest Souls-like. It uses Unreal Engine 5. Developer Lean Z. This is basically their first game, and I think honestly, like I gave it a 7.5. You gave it 4 out of 5. This is an excellent debut for a studio, and I think the potential for a franchise is fantastic. But what are your initial kind of opinions about the game now that you've actually beaten it?
There's a lot to go through, but my overall impression is it is actually a fantastic game, especially for this being their first game and their first Souls-like. It's just like we're hitting some kind of mecca here where we're having developers from that aren't from software coming out and making their first Souls-like game and knocking it out of the park. And I'm not going to say that WUCHANG didn't knock it out of the park, because even though I have a couple of frustration points, this game is amazing for what it is. And to add on to that point, I've getting a lot of people talking about the PC version of the game, which is what I played, and a lot of people are not believing that how well the game plays. Unreal Engine 5 is usually known to be stutterfest on the PC. This game, I have not experienced any stutter in this game at all.
Yeah.
The only time I noticed any kind of frame drop was when I fought a certain boss, a certain tiger, used a certain flame weapon to light its butt up, and it dropped for a couple seconds, but that was it. Outside of that, the game runs at a solid 60 frames per second, not counting it dropping down to the cutscenes.
Yeah.
And I got people going, that's not true. It's Unreal Engine 5. Unreal Engine 5 sucks for PC games. And I'm like, no, it runs great.
Like, I think the one thing that's been the issue with Unreal Engine 5 is it's still very, very new. So I think that the teams are starting to learn a little bit more and how to kind of like bottleneck that kind of stuff so that the stutters don't happen. I had, if you remember, early on in the game, there's that one village where you go up that really long staircase and then you fight that monstrous type of thing in there. I'm just trying to remember what it was. It was one of the
lot of stairways and monsters. You gotta be very
it's one of the very first. It's one of the very first bosses. It was some like woman type of creature thing that you fight, but it's in this like lush area and there's like little temples. It's kind of offshoot to where you meet that one guy that becomes a shopkeeper, that little creature guy. And
okay, I know you're talking about. Yes,
whole area ran like at 15 to 20 FPS.
Like, you played on Xbox though.
Yeah, I played on Xbox, and that whole area just ran really poorly. Most of the time I had really no issues with the game, but that whole area ran really, really bad.
I don't want to be the what's the way I'm saying? I don't want to be the bearer of bad news. There are most people out there, but unfortunately, when it comes to both the Xbox and the PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5, these consoles are actually getting a little long in their tooth now. How long has the Xbox been out? 5-6 years?
Or Xbox Series?
Yeah. 2020, right?
Let's see here. Yeah, November 10th, 2020.
So,
and
their GPUs weren't exactly the best from the get-go.
Yeah. But I mean, like everything else ran fine. It was just that one section, but it was a lengthy section because like I constantly was getting lost. So I would constantly go back to that area wondering if, oh, can I destroy this cart? Nope. Okay, can I destroy that cart? Yep. Okay, let's move on. Like, it's that lack of yellow paint, like,
Yeah, that got me a little confused. There was a lot of times where I just kept going in circles and like, where am I going? Where am I going? How come I can't go this way? There's a lot of not backtracking, but getting lost, and not so
yeah,
much as exploration, just getting lost. And sometimes some of the areas just look very familiar. You're like, I was just here, wasn't I? And then you go back and wait, wasn't I just here? And then you go back the other way. It's like,
yeah,
wait, wasn't I just here again? So there
and
was a lot of that.
it doesn't help that you'll come to a fork in the road and you're like, okay, I'm gonna go this way, and like, oh, this is a wide open area. This is obviously the wrong way, and then you go the other way, and it's another wide open area, and you're like, okay, I'm spoiled for choice here. Which is the actual path?
Yeah, I do like that they gave you some choices, even though it wasn't as much exploration as say like God, I don't want to say this, like say a Dark Souls 3. I always throw it out there.
Yeah,
But I do love the fact that they did have interconnected levels. So that was really cool. You don't see that a lot in a lot of Souls like games that are not from software. And that was really cool. That's one of the big things I was like, wow, this is really cool. Now, mind you, folks, this is somebody who paid no attention to Wuchang when it was first announced, wasn't caring about it, wrote it off as another Souls like game. And I was like, all right, I love Souls like, but I'm getting really tired of them. Um, Played at Summer Game Fest, and I was like, all right, this is okay. Wasn't still really sure. It only had like a half an hour. And then getting access to it, and just that's it. I played nothing but Wuchang. Nothing. I haven't played Elden Ring Night Ring, and I've been on that nonstop. I
oh,
played
I know.
but
Like,
this
I
game.
was checking when I was posting the review, and I'm like, oh, I haven't posted a review in like 2 weeks because like I've been just obsessed playing this, and like I do
Yeah.
love it, and like there's a lot of the reasons that we're talking about right now why I chose a 7.5 as of an 8. Like, performance issues were a big issue. Getting lost was another issue. But this game has, I think, the slowest get up animation I have
Oh my
ever seen.
lord.
Like,
Yes.
you
Oh
get
my god.
hit like 2 to 3 times by the time you get up, and if despair is around you, you're dead the moment you get up.
There are certain locations and certain bosses that if you get knocked to the ground, they will get easy hits on you. Like it's just like 4 or 5 hits, and sometimes instant death because you're knocked on the ground and they're hitting you while you're trying to get up. And I'm smashing like, can I get up? Can I get up? And it's like, no, dash doesn't get you up, dodge doesn't get you up, nothing gets you up. So I was thinking maybe it was some kind of old school fighting game mechanic where you had to hit the button as soon as you hit the ground, but no,
Yeah, and
nothing gets you up.
there's
Nothing.
not even a node to improve that or change that or up it. There's no like benedictions, or there's no like anything, like no temperance. Like there's nothing that gets you up faster. And that was one thing that was frustrating, because you got a lot of like ranged attackers that just abuse really ridiculous aim. I'm guessing that you ran past that tent where the guy was in it with the cannon. Um, like, there's a lot of these little cheap things, but
That was in my review. I was like, there are a lot of locations where enemies have point dead eye accuracy and they'll hit you. They don't even need to see you, they will hit you.
yeah,
Not just the cannon guys, but later on the guys with the arrows, the flaming arrows and the snow level, they just hit you and you're like, bro,
you're trying to run and then you run into a mine and you're dead.
yeah.
Yeah,
The
like,
mines that you can't see, by the way, that you can't see, and they just go, and it's like, what? And
yeah,
of
like
course,
you can see them pop up through the snow, but there's like some in this in one of the in that one encampment that you led me to go to where I get that big temple. There's some of them
did
in
you
there, but you can't even see those ones.
there's another forest area, um, where the bow sorcerer was, and you go through a little further through it takes you to the next area. I'm not sure how far you've gotten, but there's that one log that falls down and hits you, and it's like, I can't even see the log. There's
I've
no
seen
there's
the
it
boulders. I don't know if I got to the log.
the logs are ridiculous. The boulders you can see coming. The
Yeah.
log just goes, "Oh, hi," smacks you,
Well, there's the
and then
one
he smacks
boulder
you
that
again
you
on the way
can see
back.
coming, but you go down there and there's an costume piece, and you're like, oh, piece of candy. And like the animation's so slow for picking it up. I see the boulder come and I'm like, oh, fucking Christ.
Yeah, so there are a lot of outside of the bosses and whatnot, there are a lot of cheap things in this game that I did mention that it's going to drive people crazy and frustrate people who aren't. suited to playing these type of games, like a casual gamer. Like, we'll take my son. He will play this game and he'll play it and he'll get cheap shotted or fight a boss that is a brick wall and he'll go, you know what, I'm done, and he'll never come back. And I feel bad because I think a lot of people are going to find this out the hard way and they're going to miss out on a really great experience. I do think that the developer, because I can't pronounce their name properly, is it
I think it's Lindsay.
Lindsay, they need to come back and do some balancing. It's not bad in total, but there are some bad points that balancing would definitely help out.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's but again, as we go through this and talk about this, you'll see me gush about this game because the more and more I've played it, the more and more I'm like, all right, this is actually a really cool game. This is actually a lot of fun. Except for those bosses, you spend 2 or 3 hours on and go, I can't beat this boss. What's going on here?
Yeah. Well, thankfully, we've pretty much already touched upon the issues. So I mean, that's kind of where that discussion kind of ends in terms of like the frustrations that these games have. This one more so than others. It's not just like, you know, extremely tough bosses. That's the genre, but it's the cheap elements around those types of things that just kind of suck the wind out of the sails. Um, but so Fallen Feathers basically the every Souls like has a story, whether it's important, whether it is coherent, whether it is based on the items that you're picking up. FromSoft is very notorious for essentially having their stories kind of told through lore of the items that you're finding, the brief discussions that you have with certain characters. This one goes out of its way by having cutscenes, full dialogue, characters that you'll interact with, and all that stuff. And you basically wake up. You're by Wuchang, and you wake up in this cave. You don't know what's going on. You've lost your memory, and you're decked out in all these feathers. And it's basically like a disease that's ravaged the entire area of Shu. And essentially, you meet up with a doctor. He kind of gives you the spiel about what the disease is. You meet up with your partner, who you don't really even remember, and you're basically exploring this area, trying to essentially kind of dissolve yourself of this disease. But this disease also gives you magical powers. It makes you extremely powerful, and you're getting these little items that are like, oh, it'll help stem off the disease, but it's really just they're just giving you like healing items. Like they're not actually narratively curing you or stopping the disease, but you benefit from the disease by essentially using these magical powers. You have damage essentially that's called feathering, and your feathering is essentially tied to a lot of the attacks that you do, magic attacks. Like when I throw my spear, it does feathering damage. So this disease essentially isn't so much terrible until they start diving more into it. Now, um, how much of the story really changes once you get past that chapter 5 moment? Like, does it really ramp up the story at all? Does it really give any type of closure?
You want me to give away
Not
spoilers?
spoilers, but I mean, like, does the
Yes.
narrative get
Yes.
anywhere even remotely better at that point? Because there's
Yes.
a long stretch where there's nothing.
Keep in mind that if you mess up, you will miss out on the final chapter of the game.
Okay.
I won't spoil it, but there is a decision that you can make. And if you don't make the right decision, it's like, well, all right, you just skipped out of chapter 5. Good job.
Okay.
Which I don't like. I don't like that because there should be some kind of like hey, by the way, you may screw up and lock yourself out of an entire chapter, which is
Hmm.
another, 5-10 hours of gameplay, maybe
Okay.
more. I also want to say, because you touched on it, but I want to touch on it again with certain bosses. Um, Not completely hard, but they do have some WTF moments where they can literally one shot you or two shot you or some weird gimmick that if you're not aware of, it's making the fight a lot harder. Which is why it's a good thing they have the ability to respec anytime you want, which is
Yeah.
great because you can go in and go, all right, this isn't working. We go back. Okay, this isn't working. I need to go out and try this. But then there are some bosses, uh, mainly towards the end of the game, that just like, you know what? I'm going to be right here. Now I'm going to be over there. Now I'm going to be over there. Now I'm going to be over here. Now I'm going to be over there. Like, could you not? Could you just sit still so we could fight?
Yeah.
Or you get away from them and they're doing a move, and you're like, oh, they're way over there. And all of a sudden they go, oh, hi, I'm in your face now. Wait, you were just attacking me. Now you're in my face. Which
Mm,
one is it? Make up your mind. So there are a lot of cheap moments in this game, but if you stick to it and you're one of those people who understands that it's not going to be completely easy for you, you can get past these bosses. And push comes to shove, early on, you can't do it, but later on in the game, you can power level to an extent,
yeah,
even though power leveling isn't really going to help you in this game. Not at
yeah,
all.
yeah. I can't remember. I got like level 50 something. Um, and like, yeah, I was kind of respecking occasionally, but I really like the long sword, and especially using that flame sword to use that kind of flame spin and flame attack, because that really helped a lot. I lucked out with the tiger getting stuck in the door, and then I just started hammering and using that
I
spell, and
remember you
then
talking about that tiger, like, "This guy's a tiger." It's like, "Yeah,
oh my
he's a."
god,
It took me a while to figure out the pattern. Once I figured out the pattern, okay, can we talk about this real quick, though?
yeah,
So, the tiger was my first, "I kicked your butt." Yeah, then he's like, "Oh, hey, by the way, second phase." You're like, "Second phase? What?"
yeah. It's the first boss that has a second phase.
I was like, "Come on, guys, we need to stop." I curse you from software and Square Enix for making this a thing. When people go, "Hey, I beat the boss." Oh no, you didn't beat the boss. You just beat the first part of the boss. Meanwhile, you're looking at your healing potions going, "Well, I don't have any more. I used them all on this boss.
Yeah,
Now I got to fight you again." There was one moment in a game where I showed you the one boss, the bride. Either you or Jordan, I showed it to, and
yeah. Well, the bride was also part of a pre-order trailer promotion as
right.
well too. So
So I beat her, and then she had a second phase, but the second phase was chump change. It was like, oh, you just stay behind her or on the side of her and you'll kill her. Like, oh, well, that was easy because I only had 2 potions left. Thank God.
yeah,
And I was a bonehead and I didn't actually get all my charges like I was supposed to. So I kind of went into the fight gimped in the first place.
yeah. Yeah. So, like with the healing potions and stuff, so if you kind of go off the beaten path and kind of explore these areas, you'll find these golden chests, and then you'll find remembrances, or you'll find one of the other items. And the other item will boost the effect of your potion, whereas the remembrance will allow you to actually carry more potions, and that's on the skill tree. You can carry up to, I think, 9. I'm not 100% too sure.
No, I have 11 now.
You have
I've
11.
started
Okay,
over. I haven't
maybe
got
it's
one
12
yet, so nothing.
because each
Say
node
again?
holds 3. So I think there's 4 nodes.
There's you start out with, no, there's 4 nodes, 3 or 4 nodes, and there's 3 apiece.
Yeah.
And remember, you start with 3 as it is.
Yeah, so maybe there's 15.
Maybe I don't have them all because I beat the game, and the game was like, once you beat the game, you can't go back and play your old game again. It's
Oh, that's so
automatically,
dumb.
it sucks. It's like, now you got to play. Wait, I don't want to go new game. Plus, I want to go find all the stuff I found. I didn't find. Nope, you got to do a new game.
Oh, that
So
I mean, they'll probably patch some type of like ability of going back in.
doesn't help the people who already started new game again, though.
Yeah, that sucks. Um, yeah, so the one thing that's kind of neat about this game as well too is it's kind of a weird take on alternative history, because this takes place basically towards the end of the Ming Dynasty, and you got a lot of characters that are kind of present during like the Three Kingdoms period. So you'll have a lot of like the Portuguese explorers and all these other types of people that eventually show up. They don't really do much other than just kind of like are present, because a lot of the guys that you mostly interact with are like shopkeepers. There's a doctor that you can keep giving things to, but I don't know the payoff there. You will find items as you kind of explore. You'll give those to the shopkeepers, and that explores that enhances and kind of expands the shop as well too. Um, there's a lot of really nice armor in this game. I know some of it's part of like pre-order deluxe packages and stuff.
Yeah.
I only got a base edition of the game, so I didn't get any of the deluxe outfits. Um, the fashion stuff in this game is pretty good. I know leading into it, there was a lot of talk about how it was going to be very fan servicey. That like you see all the people that were like, "Oh, Stellar Blade Fix Gaming" and stuff, and that's not really here. Like I never found outfits that were like overly sexualized or anything. Like they'll have like
Oh,
some stuff, but I'm guessing you found a lot.
oh, let's just say 9% of that stuff is over sexualized. Leave it at that.
Yeah,
Leave
I didn't find too much, at least in my playthrough there. Like, you'll
there
get
is
the odd thing.
you like you find undergarments and they're like you wear the undergarments and the problem with some of the undergarments is they're actually really good. It kind of made it good on purpose. Like, hey, this is great for feathering damage. You might want to wear this. And you're like, well,
Yeah.
I don't want to fight this boss in a robe and panties and a pair of glass slippers. And people
Yeah,
go, so what are you doing? Like, I'm playing the game, unfortunately. Thank God there's transmog, so you can
yeah.
wear whatever you want and not look like a complete goon.
Yeah, like, I didn't find it, like, because everyone was thinking that this was gonna be the next Stellar Blade, but I don't think it's even remotely close. Like, a lot of the fashion stuff is pretty cool. You can get a lot of armor that almost makes you look like some type of insectoid bug, or like, that you can see like the feathering damage and stuff. Like, it'll have like part of the cloak kind of redone, and then you see like all of the feathering kind of mutation, which is kind of neat. Um, there's a lot of decent weapons in this game as well too. Like, you have basically swords, you have spears, you have axes, you have dual blades, and then you have the long sword. And some of them, like the spear, like that you had showed me, you can use like a gun.
A gun, the spirit has a gun.
I never found
Oh my god, it's so great. I was like, "This boss is
pendant.
kicking my butt. I got a gun. Imma shoot you." It was so good.
Yeah, I got her down to about halfway, but I don't have that pendant that improves the shooting.
Yeah, I found it before I got to her, but again, there's certain things you just end up finding off the beaten path or talk to
Yeah,
somebody or something, so you likely missed it, but either way, as I'm thinking about it, I probably would have went back and beat her with another weapon. I found that the axe is very overpowering just based on the amount of stagger it does. And wow, excuse me. And there's an ability or a discipline as they're called, um, that lets you go to a rampage mode where you can hit the boss, and every time you hit not just the boss, anything, anytime you hit something with it, you get a high stagger hit. It's like an overhit slam, and then every hit afterwards will recoup a little bit of your health back as you're
hmm,
hitting. So you can chug potion and just keep hitting and keep hitting and keep hitting as long as you have the skybound might.
yeah,
So I found that to be very overpowered. I've literally got some bosses in the corner and just abused the hell out of them because they're stuck in the corner and I'm just hitting them and hitting them and healing. It's good stuff.
yeah.
Use the
So
axe, guys.
Skyborn Might is the backbone of this game. It essentially powers everything, and that's kind of to its detriment as well. So every single time that you like dodge an attack, you gain shimmering, and that shimmering translates into Skyborn Might. There's other ways to generate Skyborn Might, whether it's on additional attacks, depending if you've unlocked the node. But Skyborn Might essentially is, in a lot of ways, mana. And
Yeah.
your disciplines, your sword abilities, your weapon abilities, they use Skyborn Might, but your spells use it as well. So
Yeah.
it's kind of a trade-off, because like I'll find that one attack that I do with the Skyborn Might, that flame thing, does way more damage than most of my spells. So like, depending on like how you've built up your character and how powerful you've made those spells, in some cases I found the spells almost completely useless to a certain degree, depending on the boss. So I
Yeah.
kind of wish that there was a separate currency for your spells than your Skyborn Might. But
Yeah, that got frustrating a lot, especially when I was trying to figure out certain things because you may inadvertently you have a lot of Skyborn might, and you may inadvertently go, all right, well, I need to use this for something else, and then you do an ability, and you go, oh, there goes my Skyward might all of a sudden, and you didn't mean to do it. It
yeah,
just it just happened, and it's gone. And now
and there's
the downside to that, as I know you're gonna say, is you have to play very aggressively and dodge and or parry, or there's one perk on the skill tree that lets you get Skyborn Might as you hit enemies. But
yeah.
there's a really good one if you're a spellcaster. It literally will give you Skyborn Might as you sit there. It will randomly give you one,
Oh,
which
nice.
is really cool. Yeah, it just keeps coming. So if you're high enough, you can spec into part of that tree, and then the rest of the tree you want to be in. So you're just getting Skyborn Might as you just wreck stuff. It's a
Yeah,
lot of
there's
great things you can do with that build with this the skill tree, which I really love about this game.
yeah. So the skill tree is very different for the souls like because normally we're treated to going at a campfire, having our souls, and then translating them into like health and vigor and strength and dexterity and all that stuff. But this game doesn't have that type of skill tree. It has
So
those ability upgrades, but you find them on the paths of the weapons. So if you want a lot of strength, you can go into like the axe, and you'll see a lot of the little like arm rest muscle type of icon, or you'll see the heart, which is vitality. And so you're basically unlocking those nodes on the path of getting these other upgrades. And that includes like weapon proficiency. So you can get like your proficiency higher in longsword if you want. And then that moves down to different moves. And eventually you can learn different disciplines for those weapons. So your longsword may not initially have the ability to block, but then you can eventually unlock that ability. Or you can lock the ability for your spear to have clash, which is another type of like kind of status thing to how you're playing defensively. Um, so the skill tree is very, very different. But like he said, you can respec at any time with no penalty. Like you're not paying the red mercury or anything to respec. It's just you can freely do it at any time.
I think it is easily one of my favorite skill trees in any game because there were a couple games that were pretty good, but this one is respec anytime, or if you have the points, spec into different trees and make a really amazing character. Not to
Yeah,
mention, the skill tree is what powers you. Everything you do, um, your magic, how much magic you have, what kind of magic you have. So feathering or regular magic, how much strength you have, how much stamina you have, how much health you have. It's everything. And the game doesn't break it down into just, okay, here's your stamina, here's your health. Here, no, it goes in different parts and trees. And you can, again, if you have the points, power leveling, excuse me, you can go to every different tree and just make this really completely badass of a character. Or you can go, you know what? I just want all feathering damage and the spec in this and get the best of that tree.
yeah,
But the great thing about that also is it also changes your abilities, your disciplines, and also your weapon abilities.
yeah.
This
Like
is my favorite skill tree. This is amazing stuff that they've done.
yeah, it's
Kudos to them for this.
it's really interesting because it allows you to kind of like build craft. So like you could watch YouTube videos once they come out and go like, hey, here's a completely overpowered spear build, and then just kind of go nuts on that. Magigoran had a similar type of thing where you could kind of split into like different builds. You could kind of cross build because the one thing that's neat about Wuchang is like you can equip two weapons at once, and you get an ability that allows you to kind of like convert into the other weapon with an attack. And so there's those abilities as well. So you can carry two weapons at once. The nice thing about it is there's not really like a weight type of thing. So like you're not rolling differently because you have like an axe equipped or anything like that. You're not faster because you're doing daggers and sword. The sword, I think, is the only one I never really used. I used the long sword, but I never really used the sword at all. Um, what did
You
you
have to
end?
use the sword. You
Sorry?
have to use the short sword is basically your magic. So you get two short swords, or is it
Yeah,
three? But one of them is strictly magic and what and feathering. So if you want to use magic, you have to use that sword. And that's the only thing I hate about it because physically it's useless. It can do a couple quick hits, but it's not very strong. But
yeah.
you can draw out its magical potential and use it do some great magic spells. There is a one point in the game where I was doing anywhere from 14 to 1200 per hit for spell with that sword, which made
Hmm.
some bosses really easy. I'm just nuking them. Bow Sorcerer was one of those. She's like, "Oh hey, give me a chance to nuke you." Nuke made the fight so much easier.
Yeah, there was a lot of like I obviously haven't seen all the bosses you have. There was a couple neat ones. Like I do like the commander at the start because that kind of taught me kind of how to use my uh, Skyborn Might. Like that fight to me was like that's how you kind of learn that one because I ended up playing very differently than what you did into like because you showed me that fight, and then like I played more kind of ranged, and then eventually kind of work in there. Because like I'm not terribly great at souls like. I usually like the souls likes that have little bits of assistance or just flat out co-op. Because that's one thing I liked about Kazan is it had like kind of an easier mode to kind of go through than the standard mode, and then Lords of Fallen had the co-op nature of it. This one here is just very similar to like Lies of P, where you can summon in a companion, but here it's very limited. You
Very, very, very limited.
yeah, like how many bosses throughout the game could you actually summon that guy on? 6?
I've only got him for the guy you meet in the beginning. I
Because there was the guy in
2
the
maybe?
temple, there was
Maybe 2?
the guy in the winter base, there was your
Yeah,
companion
he
with
didn't help me.
the child,
He
and
didn't
then
help
there was
me.
the tiger.
See, I messed up the child completely. See what I mean? I didn't the child, the partners hit, I completely screwed that up.
How did you screw that up?
I didn't find him again. I found him the first time in the town. I saw him again at the refuge camp, and then he disappeared.
Yeah, because like the last time, because I saw him when I killed the tiger, and then I don't know if I saw him again, but I ran into my companion right after that when you fight that child, which is essentially a big fucking grotesque monster, but it has like it's you know it the sensibilities of it were very simple. Like it was a very kind of simple-minded creature, and that was like almost like a palate cleanser from the tiger because that fight was very easy. Um, but yeah, like what stands out for you is like probably one of the better bosses.
Ooh. I did like the tiger fight after I got a hang of it.
Yeah,
Um, mm, define better. Like easy or just an amazing experience?
I would say like in terms of like mechanically how good the boss fight, because you can have bosses that have extravagant presentation around them and like this is cool and the boss design's really nice, but then the mechanics on it are like, oh, just hit it from the left.
Uh
So like what was probably the most mechanically satisfying boss fight? Because like for me it was probably the tiger so far.
for me, it was the final boss on chapter 4
Yeah.
because she started out easy and then she started throwing feathering magic at you. And then she started summoning things off the ground, and then she started teleporting. Then she started summoning uh feather magic versions of those giant guys with the massive, what do you call them? Poles, whatnot.
Okay.
And then she started making herself invincible or impenetrable, so you broke her shell. But it wasn't just so much stuff she threw at you, it's that when she was throwing it at you, it took you a moment to go, okay, if I did this, I can get away from that. But if I did this, I can get away from that. But if I do this dodge at the same time she's attacking me, I can dodge her and this guy at the same time. So there's a lot of stuff going on during that fight. But if you sat there and figured it out, it's like, all right, this felt good. So when I finally figured it out when I was fighting her, I was like, oh, this is easy. Oh, this is easy. Oh, this is easy. This is no problem. I know how to do this now. This is easy. So it was just like, okay, you were kicking my butt for the first hour or so, but once I figured this out, it was like, all right, this is great. And that's kind of a common theme with a lot of these bosses, though.
Hmm.
But if you ask me which one I hated the most, it was that the Snow Queen, the Madam. She sucked. I hated her.
Is that
God,
the
I
one you
hated
kill with
her.
a gun?
Yeah, I hated her.
Yeah, that's the one I'm at.
I'm gonna throw this at you. And by the way, if you get really close, I'm gonna do this corruption that's gonna soak and kill you at a
In one
moment's
shot.
notice. Like, dude, what?
Yeah, honestly, the worst thing about that fight, and this is so weird to say, the worst thing about that fight is the fact that you have to summon that elevator back up and then go back down. Like you can, I usually like hit it to have it go back off, and I jump
That's
off
what
so
I
it's
do.
back and
That's
ready
any
there for
game.
me.
That's any game I play. I always make the elevators go back up or down because I know I'm gonna die. I
Yeah,
don't want to feel like waiting for it to come back or down. So
but I just kind of wish that the save thing was past that elevator, that was just right outside her door or something. Because like running back and having to go down the elevator again was so fucking annoying. especially because like
That
you lose that momentum of like having the fight memorized.
Yeah, fresh in your head, exactly. That's why I always send it up or down. I want to go right back into that fight. The bride fight was one of those fights because it's like, oh, you got to wait for this elevator to come back so you go back down. No, and they're dicks about that because they put the save point above you that you need to take elevator to go back down. They didn't put one on the same floor, so you have to go on the floor to go fight the boss. No, they put it above you,
Yeah.
bro. By the way, people, if you play this game, and I'm sorry if we're spoiling stuff, um, save often. Be sure to use the Enter the Dream because when you go to the save point, the temple, shrine, what do you call it, you do not heal up. You do not reset the world. You do not get your stuff back. You have to enter the dream. I don't like that. I think that is dumb.
Yeah.
That's a dumb mechanic.
One fight that was where at the very, very beginning, you talk to that guy at the fire, and then he puts you into a fight with a creature. And now I got killed by that creature. Do you ever get to fight that fight again?
I don't know what fight you're talking about.
At the very beginning of the game, you head down the stairs,
Uh-huh.
and there's that big area in the middle, and there's a gate there that you have to go out. There's a locked gate and another locked gate, and this is down
Right.
from the one temple. But the first time you go down there, there's a guy sitting by the fire, and if you talk to
Oh
him,
yeah.
you go
Yeah,
into
you
the
do
dream,
fight
and
that.
then you fight
Yes.
something.
Yes. You're supposed to lose that fight, by the way. I've beaten him a couple times, but you're supposed to lose it.
Okay.
But you do fight that again. It's part of the story. So you
Okay.
do fight it again.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah, because I got him about halfway, and then I just got killed. And I'm like, okay, this is one of those Dark Souls fights where you're supposed to
Well,
essentially lose it.
the point of that fight was learning how to dodge and take your time fighting that boss because
Yeah.
if you just hit him and ran, you would have killed him. But the problem with a lot of these games and a lot of people who play these games is we tend to get over aggressive and we're like, we can get that extra hit in. And that boss stinks because it hits you with his arm, his wing, and it hits you, even though you think, well, that's not going to hit me, but it hits you. He swings and it goes further back than you think it's going to go back, and it hits you. And
Yeah.
you only have 3 hills at that time. So yeah, you do fight that again, which is pretty cool. I'm not going to spoil it, but you do fight that again.
Okay.
You do.
Yeah. So like the difficulty in this game is kind of based off like not learning or not knowing some of the patterns, and then eventually it gets to a point where it's fairly easy to a certain extent. Do you find this? Did you play Black Myth Wukong?
Yeah.
Do you think this is easier or harder than that?
Honestly, I think they're about par.
Yeah. Yeah, because like I don't know, like Black Myth Wukong is one that I never got a chance of playing, and I was thinking of picking it up on Xbox. But if it was harder than this one, I'm not too sure if I would. Um, so okay, so we've got over pretty much like so combat. We've pretty much gone over that in terms of um, your spells and stuff like that. So there's kind of like a free open class system. Like you don't really have to
You
pick
don't have to
something.
you don't have to be the superhuman tank
Yeah,
guy or
it doesn't
yeah.
tailor different stats that you're kind of stuck with, and then you kind of rebound and change from there. Um, the world itself is really nice. Like
Yes,
the environments look absolutely fantastic.
it's beautiful. It's a beautiful
Um,
game.
I mean, it sucks when you get knocked off a temple like roof or whatever, because like an enemy is like positioned to like knock you off. Um, but yeah, like it's there's a lot of nice areas that kind of like reconnect. A lot of decent shortcuts. Um, but there, yeah, like there's so you have things that you can equip to your weapons. There's tempering, which I felt was very underdeveloped. I barely found any items for that thing. It basically adds like passive abilities to your weapons. Benedictions, however, you find them constantly. They're like small little like green, white, or orange gems, and they will boost certain aspects of your weapons or skills or abilities or buffs. So there's that kind of customization to it as well. There's also the disciplines where you can swap it. Like maybe you don't want blink kick, maybe you want block, and then
And
you
that's
can.
what I love about it. You can just swap out your stuff, and that's what makes the even though you only have 5 types of weapons, which I really like, versus like Dark Souls or Elden Ring, where I've got a bazillion weapons, 5 different weapons. Each one of them has a little different compared to the other one. Like you have 4 axes, and one gives you fire, one makes it easier for you to stagger things, et cetera, et cetera. But you still can change out those disciplines, so you can still make them your weapon the way you want to play, which is great.
Yeah.
Except for the one-handed sword, you can't make those things do any more damage to what they do, unfortunately. I wish you
Yeah, like
could, but you can't.
well, there's like dual blades that have like a gun, so you'll do like a combo and then you'll fire off like a shot
Those
to
are
your
nice.
face.
I have the
Um,
scissors now from my last playthrough, so I think this playthrough I'm gonna change and use the scissors.
okay. Yeah, the Flamebringer longsword was what I used a lot. I would also use the one axe that has that Empyrean crash.
You know,
That
and can that also has one thing they really did. I'm sorry, I just remember this because you mentioned that weapon.
yeah,
Um, they did a great job in terms of making the weapons feel like maybe they should. Like that heavy axe has a lot of heft to it and
yeah,
uses a bit more stamina compared to the bladed axe.
yeah. The weapons feel unique. They just don't feel
Yeah,
like they're just the same thing but with a different shape.
I never seen an axe that never had a blade on it. It was kind of more of a club, but they called it an axe. It's like, all
Yeah,
right,
I'd seen that one there because like you'll get some weapons from like named enemies that you'll find. They'll have like red like names. And one thing that's really neat about this game is that as you die, you'll build up this gauge. Essentially, it's this madness, and essentially what it does is it once it overcomes you, the next time you die and you approach where you've died and your red mercury's there, a clone version of yourself, essentially your madness, kind of appears, and then you basically fight. If you do that near like a boss or a named enemy, if you do that during a boss, they don't appear. But if you do that during a named enemy or another bigger enemy that's not a boss, they'll appear and they'll actually fight that thing, not with you, but in their own defense. And so you can
if
kind of,
yeah, if it gets hit, then it will turn away, which I've done a lot. I've just I can stay between it and the main or whatever's kicking my butt,
yeah,
and let them fight it out, and just go okay, and then I come back and help. So you can help it too, but
yeah, I'll pick the scraps basically, and then kind of back up and then let them take some damage.
yeah,
So that's been kind of neat. If you die to them, you lose your red mercury, but your madness is cleansed. And your madness is like if you're attacking enemies or if you're just dying, essentially your madness grows. You can offer trinkets at a little tribute area to kind of cleanse it, but I felt the trek there was just pointless.
it sucked. Yeah, that needs to be addressed. It's not to mention as you get further in the game, like later on, they're not around anymore.
Yeah, like it's I don't know. Like for me, it's just I kind of wish you could just cleanse at the little bonfire things. Like why
You
not
would
have
think, right?
because like
You would
you have
think
to
that's
go
an
there and
option,
then
but no.
travel and then go there, offer it, and then go there and travel, and it just felt useless. Like I
I
never
think
once used
I
it.
think it's because they wanted to make the game feel unique and not so much Dark Souls, which is great. But
Yeah,
I think we've established by now that that's what you do. Everything does that. You go to the bonfire equivalent and you heal up and you reset the world. That it is what it is. And you went and
yeah,
decided, I'm gonna go change this because I want to be different.
yeah. I hate those fake ones that come out and they have big
Oh
muscles
my
around.
god. The first time I was like, I had no health, and I was like,
I know,
oh
and you see that
thank
one in
God.
the distance, you're like, "Fuck yes."
And then it hits you, and then you're like, "What?" That's why every time I saw one afterwards, I hit it. Every time I would hit it to see if it
Yeah,
was that or not.
yeah. I like that one flame boss where it's just kind of like the waist up and it's at the back end and it fires all those things and you have to dodge it and then it summons all those little creatures and stuff. That fight was pretty fun.
Which one was that? Now you got me thinking.
It's in that area that just looks like you're in a volcano.
Hmm, that doesn't help me. There's a bunch of them in that area.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of waist up and then it fires off like a kind of a volley of blasts that you'll dodge and then you'll go in and then it'll fall down on the beach and you'll basically hack at it. But it also summons those little crawly guys that come out of the ground and grab your feet.
That's what the last boss in chapter 4 does.
Yeah.
I hate that. Oh, I
Oh.
hate that. give me
Yeah, the one thing I
PST.
would
Ugh.
wish this game had, like, even if it didn't do yellow paint, I kind of wish it just had a journal. Just
Yeah, I didn't have that either, which is why I kind of spaced out in the story. Because like once
yeah,
you read something, it's like, all right, what am I supposed to do? Where am I supposed to go? And it's like, well, can't help you there, buddy.
yeah,
So
because
it's
there
like,
could
all
be a
right, I
journal,
go
be
over
like,
there.
oh, I ran into what's his name? He's heading to Cloudspire. Maybe I should follow him. Like just little, like if it had a journal, I wouldn't even need the yellow paint. I could go to the journal and be like, oh, okay, this was the last thing I had an interaction with. Because sometimes you'll get side quests where it'll be like, oh, I'm missing my blah blah blah, and then you'll find it, and then you'll give it to them, and then it gives you like some type of like item or whatever the case is.
Yeah, I don't like the lack, not so much the story, 'cause the story is there, just very incoherent.
Yeah,
I don't like the fact of the lack of go that way, go that way. Okay, great. Because you literally can just go any direction. It is very linear, but when you go to that area, there's a lot of stuff for you to do. These are some big areas. These areas are bigger than the areas you've played in like in Dark Souls
yeah, they're
or Demon
massive.
Souls.
Like the
They're
scale is
massive
huge,
levels. And you're just walking and walking. You're like, where am I going? I don't know what
and
I'm
it
doing.
and you'll occasionally you'll find these little bamboo guys that pop up and run on the ground, and you have to basically hack at them. And then you
I
look at
thought
the
that
item,
was
and it
useful.
says trade to the panda. It's hours, hours in before you ever meet that panda, unless I
I
didn't
think
meet him early.
that mechanic is that whole thing is a waste because you only get a couple things even at towards the end. It's like, dude, what was the whole point of this? And they're not
Yeah,
even useful. Like
yeah, I got the
that was a
panda hat.
waste.
Like that thing was cool, but yeah, it felt
That
like
was
a
it.
it felt like a weird. It was almost like them trying to give like some type of structure to like a treasure goblin. Essentially where it's like it's okay when you get it, but it doesn't really pay off too much. And like
I wanted
his
more.
store, there's not much to it.
I wanted more out of that because I was like, cool, he's gonna give me some cool stuff. Like in
Yeah.
other games, no, he only gives you a couple things. And he looks dopey. He's just like hard. I'm like, all right, bro, can I get some stuff? And he's just like, all right, I guess.
Yeah.
That's it. All right, whatever, guy.
Yeah. No, like it's I did really enjoy the game. Despite my 7.5. Just because like again, I did find like most of like the combat was excellent. And I liked the systems that were around it. I just felt like some of them were underbaked, like that
Hey
tempering.
man, hey man, look, at least you didn't pretend to play it and give the game a 2.5
Yeah.
PC gamer.
Yeah, I know. I
I'm
saw
sorry.
that
I
score
had
and I was like, are you kidding me?
bro, it was like you didn't even play the game. Well, all the costumes are skippy. My dude, like the first hour in the game, you get a armor set, a complete armor set. What are you talking
See, I
about?
barely even found most of the items skimpy, at least for what I found. I mean, there's that one dress, I think, that you could kind of classify it as, but
Oh, there's some, yeah, there's a lot of they catered towards the Stellar Blade gamers. We'll leave it at that.
yeah.
Okay. This is going to start a conversation piece when it comes out that again, why do all females have to wear the skimpy armor? And it's like, I don't want to be part of that conversation, but there's like when you're her ass is hanging out and she's got massive cleavage and like, so that's going to protect you from getting an axe to the chest. How?
Yeah, it's plus five there. Yeah.
Oh,
All right, we're going to take a look at some of the quotes here, just kind of see how this game is kind of hitting to everybody right now. It's sitting at a 75 on OpenCritic. Game Rant says, at first glance, Wuchang Fallen Feathers feels familiar, but its deeper systems take the genre in some unexpected and highly rewarding directions. They gave it an 8 out of 10. Eurogamer gave it 3 out of 5, saying familiarity, I can never say that word, stalks you at every turn in Wuchang Fallen Feathers, a competent, cool, and pretty Souls-like with a nice twist on death, but a few true surprises. IGN gave it an 8 out of 10, saying Wuchang Fallen Feathers is yet another great Souls-like to add to an ever-increasing pile, featuring excellent combat, wonderful level design, an incredible skill tree, and fearsome bosses. Just watch out for some steep difficulty dips and spikes and a reliance on cheap-feeling gotcha ambushes. PC Gamer
Yeah.
gave it a 49 out of 100, saying Wuchang brings fun ideas to Souls-like boss fights, but the rest of it is a pale imitation of much better games. Let's see what else we got
But
here.
doesn't mention which games those are. They just says better games. I'm sorry. I don't defend games, but I defend against dumb things said. I don't like stupidity. Just
Yeah,
say you didn't like the game and don't try and hide behind words, dude. Just say you didn't like the game or you don't like Souls likes. And if that's the case, you should have never been playing the game. But everything that I've read of that review was like, did we play the same game? Because I'm pretty
yeah.
sure we didn't.
The last one here is a 4 out of 5 stars from Keith Mitchell at the Outer Haven,
Yeah, I love that game.
saying, despite its flaws, Wuchang Fallen Feathers is an impressive first effort from a studio with no previous experience in the Souls-like genre. It reminded me a lot of what happened with Lies of P and Black Myth Wukong, surprise hits coming from developers who never worked on an action RPG before that show up and make everyone take notice. I love seeing more studios bring a unique cultural flavor to this space. I have no doubt that Lean Z Games will continue improving the game post-launch with a few updates. This could become a must-play title, not just for the hardcore Souls-like fans, but for anyone craving a challenging and visually stunning action RPG.
See, it kind of sounds like I know what I'm talking about, doesn't it?
There you
Just a
go.
little bit.
See,
Yeah.
I'm not a
I'll take it.
top critic. I am on here as well. My last little bit here is Wuchang Fallen Feathers could have been this studio's Liza P moment, but much of its design creates unnecessary friction towards the player that can feel off-putting and can leave you scratching your head on where to go next. The mixing of Skyborn Might with its spells and skills is another hurdle in utilizing all the game systems in a cohesive manner, making some battles a rinse and repeat of the same skills over and over again. While I certainly enjoy my time here, despite those issues, Wuchang Fallen Feathers lacks anything that truly makes it memorable or anything to really make it stand out from a sea of other Souls likes. So that's me with my 7.5. And like I did enjoy the game of what I've played of it. It's definitely, I think, one of the more challenging ones that I've played, and just in regards to like overwhelming the player with a lot of stuff.
Yeah. There's
Like some
definitely
of
a
the
lot in
fights
there.
feel
There
like they're
is.
just throwing everything at you.
It feels like it. It feels like it until you get into this little elegant dance of knowing what's what and what works, what doesn't work.
Yeah.
Um, and then it does feel like they're taking everything and they're just throwing everything against the wall to see what sticks. And it definitely shows that with a lot of the tactics that the bosses do. When you're like, all right, I need to figure out what they're doing. Um, as well as the not so subtle balancing issues that you definitely see. Like the first time you run into despair, and you're like, what the hell is despair? And despair just you're dead. Like, what? Where's my warning? Good game design is you give the players a little bit of warning first. You just don't go, oh, you're dead, and not let them see what exactly is going on. Despair is a terrible, terrible, terrible condition. And
Yeah,
I don't
because it
ever
just
want to
comes out
see
of
it again.
nowhere.
I don't ever want to see it again. It's terrible.
Well,
It's
what's
so
that
bad.
one status condition in the mines when you're close to those gems?
Blight.
Yeah, that one. Oh
No,
no, no,
no, no, that it's that. No, it's despair.
it's despair. No,
Yeah.
well, because is despair is when you die with despair, does it branch out those like things and then you
Yes.
die? Okay,
Yes.
yeah, despair
Despair
like
sucks.
it. I wouldn't mind despair, and I say this in my review. If it was just a status effect that prevented me from doing something for a short period of time, I would be okay with it. But there's sometimes where you'll just come around a corner and despair goes and you're dead.
Yeah. There's that one forest area when you're running down. I don't know if you got there yet. When you're running down the stretch and there's an enemy with despair on him, you see them in the tower, the shrine, the big shrine location that you were at before.
Okay.
You fought a couple of guys. Well, the elevator, the platforms. They're trying to get up and down so you can go up to the top. The guys
Yeah.
holding the staff of the light, those
Oh, I
guys.
know that whole area is just nothing. I had to
And
put
there's
on everything that gave me despair
yes, so did I.
resistance.
But there's one guy at the end of this path that has despair, and it's right in front of you, and it hits you further than it should. So you're like, what am I supposed to do here? What am I supposed to do? Thankfully, there's a cutoff, but the first couple times is like, what is going
Yeah.
on here?
When you go up to that one temple, past that one kind of encampment or whatever, and that one guy is hitting you from that tower that you can't get to, whatever, and you have to hide behind the tents and shit. that was so satisfying finding the shortcut behind him and then finally killing that absolute fucker.
There's a
Um,
lot of boss. There's a not boss. There are a lot of enemies in this game that I could have done without. Like the crazed birds. Holy crap! They just come at you like they just rush you, and it's like, all right, stop attacking me. Stop
I don't
attacking
think
me.
I've
Stop
I don't
attacking
think I
me.
came in, I don't think I approached those guys.
You definitely did. You just don't
Yeah.
remember them because you were in that location where you were where the platform was.
Oh,
They're crazy.
maybe I do know the
They're
birds.
men with the giant demented crow head.
Do they fly
You can't.
around?
No, no, they just run at you. They're
Oh,
humans,
okay.
but they're giant crow
Maybe
head.
maybe
You
I've
can't
seen
miss
them. I
them.
was thinking of flying enemies when you said birds. Um,
No.
Now there was one part. There's one mechanic that I never discovered on how to do anything. You'll see those like green flames floating around. What are those?
Green flames.
So
Now you got me stumped.
there's two places that I encountered them. There's one where there was a broken bridge and there was a green flame in front of it, and that was
Oh, you walk on them. You walk on them. The yellow and green flames. You walk on them.
you just
There's
walk.
hidden stuff over there. Yeah, you just walk on them. Dude,
Oh,
at the top of that tower where you were trying to get to, there's a location back there that has God, what is it? One of the power-ups you need for your health. And I think there's a weapon in there. It
okay.
it, it
Now
curves,
does it
it goes
create
around.
like a glowing line, and then you have to kind of follow it on a path?
No, it doesn't create the line. It's just you have to trust that it's there, and you have to follow the pathing.
The penitent man shall pass. All right.
Yeah. So what I did the first time I found one, I was like, all right, whatever, and I found out that you can walk across it. But there's one at that location, um, where the tiger boss is, where
Yeah.
there's cool stuff that you really need. That I was like, all right, I don't know where I'm going, so I kept dropping those little lights that you get and just dropping them so it'll say, hey, there's something here. Because the last thing I wanted is to walk on the path and just fall because I wasn't following it. But you have to follow it, it makes a line basically. There's like 5 or 6 of them, and you have to follow the line that it makes.
Okay. Yeah. That was one thing I just didn't know, and like there was one part as well too, or several parts actually, where you'll approach something and it'll say like something 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 blue word, and it's like
Those are
those are
so
the emotes that you do.
yes,
Yeah, so like you'll get like little story bits and stuff. You'll hear voices from the past
but you
essentially.
wouldn't know unless you actually sat there and figured out what it wanted you to do. You would never know that.
Yeah, because like I went to one and it's like, oh, you should examine this. And then I pressed back and I saw the examine thing, and she does the animation, and then it's like, oh, papa, blah 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 blah, the yada yada yada, and I'm like, oh, okay, these are little story bits, um, incoherent
Yeah,
as
would have
all
been nice
fuck.
if they told you, right? But they don't tell you that. So you're like, what is it? I don't know what this is.
Yeah, I mean, it's the only reason I knew that is because there's things that in Elden Ring that do that exact same thing, where if you do the animation in front of a statue or whatever, it slides open and there's a door. Um, but yeah, like in the end, it's like I think this game is one of the best looking Souls like. It's absolutely gorgeous. Even on like I'm playing on Xbox Series X. You're playing it on the high end PC, so you're seeing like essentially the true vision of that game. But they're using Unreal Engine 5 extremely well. Um,
Oh my god, yes, very, very well. Again,
and yeah,
it's one of the best implementations of Unreal Engine 5 that I've seen in a very long time.
nice. Yeah. No, I mean I mean like again like the game is excellent. It's available on Game Pass as well too. So if you have Xbox Game Pass, you'll be able to check it out. It's available pretty much on all major high end platforms. So PS5, Xbox Series X, PC. Um, I I doubt very much it'll come to Switch too. Um, but you never know.
That would be interesting, wouldn't
Yeah.
it?
But no, it is an excellent game. Like I will say, like do not go into this game hoping for any sort of story. You will absolutely
Yeah.
ignore it because the game ignores it for like a good like 15 hours where there's like nothing. Um, but like no, it's got a like one of my biggest issues with the game as well too is there is long stretches where there's like no enemies, or there'll be like one. Like when you go into
I
the
was thinking
mines,
about you. I was thinking about you when you said that. I was like, and then I got towards where I was, and I was like, this guy's complaining. There's no enemies around. There's more than enough enemies once he gets his butt here.
yeah. But no, like there's the one part where you go into a mine and there's like one guy sitting at a little fire and then one guy in the elevator. It's this whole big area and there's like you could have had so many fights here. But yeah, no, that's pretty much it on Wuchang Fallen Feathers. Do you have any closing remarks on the game at all?
Again, outside of the balancing concerns that I've had, I think this is an amazing, not just a Souls like, but an amazing action adventure game that if you like this genre, you should definitely check it out. Um, I would be, I don't want to say this because it sounds like elitist. I was gonna say I would try and play it on PC, but at the same time, there are people who play games like this on PC or any game on PC, and they don't have a really good PC. Then they come out and
Yeah.
go, well, "It sucks because my PC sucks." I'm like, "Well, play it
Well,
where
I
you
mean,
can play it
there might even be GeForce Now for that type of thing as well too, which essentially
possibly."
lets you
Yes.
cloud play with a high-end PC on their side. But
Either way, it doesn't matter where you play it. I would definitely recommend that you do play this game. It is a good game, and it will drive you crazy. There's no getting around that, but it is an experience that you definitely do not
yeah,
want to miss.
and the nice thing about everybody playing it now once it releases is the fact that there's going to be guides everywhere, so you won't have
Soon,
that ability.
soon.
You won't get lost as much as we were, where it was just like you, me, and whoever else basically going like, "Hey, where do you go now?" But
Yeah, that's always the fun slash the frustration point when you're playing a game before everybody else plays it because you're like, where do I go now? Even when I asked the developer, who never got back to me, by the way, I figured out for myself. I was like, all right, great, but I don't know where I'm going right now. Please help me. And it's just frustrating just getting stuck at a certain place. And you're like, because your game design you didn't do the job that you needed to do to help me to push me in the right direction and say, hey, maybe you need to go that way.
yeah, like I think that's like aside from the performance issues that I was having, I think that's the biggest complaint I have on that game is that it doesn't do enough to guide the player. I will also say like Bo Chang as a protagonist has zero personality, so don't go in that game expecting that character to have any agency on anything that happens in that game.
No, she's a
Um,
gopher. She's literally a gopher.
yeah, like she'll literally go into an area, fight a boss, go to the next area, and there's just nothing that kind of deals with her, or she has no um, like dialogue on like no opinion on anything. Like she's just a complete blank canvas. Um, but yeah, I think my biggest complaint about the game is just the lack of anything to guide the player to progress. And then that choice you were mentioning as well too, where you can lock yourself out of stuff. That seems like a very
Yeah,
weird type of thing.
I'm pretty sure there. I think I looked, and there's like 4 people websites who have guides to make sure you get pushed into chapter 5. So I didn't do any guides with this game. My job was to beat the game,
Yeah,
and that is it. Fortunately, we don't have the staff to do the game and or guides for this kind of game because I would be the one doing the game and the guides, and I just didn't have time to do that this time around. This
yeah,
is not an Elden Ring Night Ring where I had like an entire month to just sure and document everything and play games. I only had like maybe 2 weeks to play this game.
yeah. I'll have to get you guys back on some Night Rain because I still have not defeated that moth boss.
Oh my god, the new ones are out now, or I'm
Yeah, I know.
sorry,
I saw.
the enhanced versions are out, so I've been fighting a lot of those.
Yeah.
When did I get WuChang? Let's see, it's interesting. Let's see. I got this on when did I get this?
Well, see, like I had an issue where I wasn't whitelisted for the developer, and it took literally like 2 days for me to have my code actually work. But yeah, because I'm trying to think of like even when I got it. Let's see
I
here.
got it on the 8th. I got it on the 8th, but I didn't play it when I got it because I was still in the middle of doing something else. So
Yeah,
I
see,
didn't
like,
play it till
I
like 4
received
days
my
later.
code on the 7th, but I don't think I actually got to start playing until like the 9th or 10th. But yeah, that is pretty much it for our review discussion on Wu-Chang
Go
Fallen
play it.
Feathers. Again, sorry,
Go play it. Great,
yeah,
great, great, great game. Go
go
play
play
it.
it.
Go play it.
You know, it's
Please.
on Game Pass as well, so if you have access to that, there's no harm in trying it. See what it is. I will say though, like the first little bit, I say like first couple hours will give you kind of a reality check when you start getting to some of the walls that you will approach. I think my first wall was the commander. Um, but stick with it. You'll have a lot of fun with it. Utilize the systems as best as you can. Kind of explore, find those items, work up the skill tree. It is definitely an absolutely excellent Souls like. Um, it it's definitely worth checking out. And that's pretty much it that we've got for, I guess, kind of explaining and talking about the game. I think we pretty much covered pretty much everything without diving too much into too much spoilers. But the game, I believe, is it out right now?
It'll be out in 3 more hours. Well, less than
Excellent.
3 hours.
So pretty much by the time this is posted, everyone will be Wu-Changing. Everybody will Wu-Chang tonight.
Which means I don't understand this whole embargo thing. This whole embargo thing is out the freaking window. It drives me crazy. Oh, I don't
Yeah,
understand it. Don't understand it.
yeah. It's like, for those who don't know, there's embargo details where essentially you can cover this at this point, this at this point, and then this at this point, and then
We're
a lot of other outlets and stuff will be like, oh, we'll just put it out at the start or early.
Meanwhile, influencers are already having hours of gameplay out there right now, and it's like, oh, it's fine. I'm like, wait, but you told me I had to wait. I have to wait till the 24th.
Yeah,
Now think about that. I have to wait till the 24th, but the game comes out tonight or the 23rd at 10 o'clock. So why would I need to wait till the 24th when the game comes out a
yeah.
couple hours before that? It's like, what? Why?
Some embargoes are very, very weird. But all right, that is going to do it for our review discussion, basically for, well, Wuchang Fallen Feathers. Keith Mitchell at the Outer Haven, you gave it a 4 out of 5. I gave it a 7.5. Again, it's sitting at around a 70 so on Open Critic, so it's actually worth really checking out. But that's pretty much it. And Keith, thank you very much for stepping in and talking with the game more about more with it, as we've had discussions prior to this as well, talking about various parts of the game. So thank
Not a
you very much
problem.
for coming on here.
I guess it's the part where I hit the goodbye button, right?
Could be.
All right.
See you guys.
Goodbye.